I recently promised someone some exercises for Tai Chi, in particular the transition from low form or snake creeps down to golden rooster stands on one leg. So this is just some simple exercises with a focus on staying balanced. And I'm not going to go all the way down in snake creeps down. I'm just going to try and show you what I focus on, the parts of the body that I focus on during each phase of the movement. And to begin with, I'll show you from the back. So I'll do with the right leg forward. So this would be the low form. Then transferring weight to the front leg, this would be standing on one leg, golden rooster standing on one leg. I suggest to begin with, because it's the right leg that's reaching out, focus on shifting your weight or keeping your weight steady on your left leg. So you can roll the shin out, make the left foot feel stable so that you can easily lift the right foot. In addition to making your left foot feel stable, make your left hip feel strong. And what's probably more important is that you can use the muscles of the left hip to lift the right hip or lower it or turn it right and left. So that may be an exercise you can start off with, at least with the right leg. For the right leg, straight version of low form snake creeps down, is you can stand on the left leg and slowly lift and lower your right leg while keeping the left foot stable. And you can notice the tension in your left hip as you do so. So this becomes more tense to lift the right hip. Then it is still tense but is lengthening in order to lift to let the right hip move down. And I'm not using this waist to pull the hip up. Although that is an option for Tai Chi in particular, I would suggest focusing on the hip, trying to use the hip to control the hip muscles to control the tilt of the pelvis. Another exercise that you can do, which also involves the left hip muscles, lift the pelvis just enough that you feel tension is even, perhaps on the inner thigh and here on the outer hip, and then try to turn your pelvis towards the standing leg and then away from the standing leg while keeping tension in the left leg and hip, and also keeping the left foot stable. So stand on your left leg, left hip stable, and what you can practice doing is bending the left knee and reaching the right leg to the right. And as I reach the right leg to the right, I'm also reaching it back at the same time. And I'm finding just stay comfortable. You can play with different positions. You can reach it straight out to the side so it's parallel with the left foot, or you can try reaching it back. But in all cases, try and do that transition smoothly. So left hip strong, left foot strong, reach your right leg out to the side. Keep your weight on the left leg. And then from there, use your left hip, turn your pelvis to the right. Turn your pelvis to the right, using your left hip to drive the turn, and then slowly transfer weight to your right foot. So make the right foot strong, the left foot can relax, and now you can use your right hip to turn the pelvis square to the front. And as you turn the pelvis square to the front, the left hook hand will turn back. Now I'm not sure if the left heel should be lifted or not. You can experiment depending on your teacher, but I think so you can turn the foot and keep the left foot down. So here my weight is approximately even between both feet, but I'm focused more on the right leg, so my intent is to go forward. So from there I can just shift forward a little bit to the right foot, make sure my weight is on my right foot, and then I can bring the left hand and left knee forward and up. And as I bring the left foot up, my right leg is stable, my right foot is stable, I'm using my right hip. As I bring my right knee up, I'm using the right hip to turn my pelvis backwards. And that action can go together with bringing the left foot up and the left knee up and the right hand comes down. Right, prior to warming up or prior to doing this exercise, well, maybe a good way to start is to practice the actual opening movement, just focusing on the legs. And normally when I teach shifting weight from one leg to the other, I start with the feet apart, and then it's easy to feel when the weight is totally on one leg. This foot can be lifted, weight is even on both legs, weight is even on the other leg. This foot is strong, this foot is relaxed, I can easily lift this foot. With the feet together, it's a little bit more difficult. It takes a bit more concentration to feel which foot your weight is over, and it takes more concentration to keep your weight where you want it to be. So a good exercise to work towards golden rooster stance on one leg is to shift your weight just enough that you feel weight is even on this foot. And then without moving your upper body, try and lift the unweighted leg, move it out to the side. And I have to work hard to keep this foot stable. So try and find a position where your feet are about shoulder width or hip width apart and shift. Find the place where you're even on both feet, and then shift your weight to your other leg. Lift this leg, put the leg down. Weight is still on the outside foot, or in this case, I'll mirror you, so weight is still on the right foot. And then I'll shift the weight gradually back to both feet. And then to go the opposite way, I'll shift my weight to the right foot. I'll lift the left foot, separate the feet, shift weight even to both feet, then shift weight to the left foot. As I shift weight to the left foot, this heel lifts because I haven't bent my knees. Then I'll bring the feet together. And then from here, weight is still on the left foot, then I'll shift gradually back to both feet. So that would be a good place to start to practice being aware of where your weight is, and that can be used as the beginning of the Taiji practice. You can include the arm movements if you like. Another thing to be aware of while you're practicing that is, where's your weight? Is your weight slightly forward so your toes press down? Is your weight slightly back so your toes can relax? Is even further back so that the fronts of your feet lightly press the floor, and then it feels like your weight is more in front of your heels. So I'm having a little bit of a challenge with my knees right now, so this isn't as smooth as it should be, but so I'm not going as down as low as I could. Now, if you two have knee problems, or if you want to be careful with your knees, then probably don't go down this low. But so if you want to go down a bit lower, so this might be the starting position. Look something like this. Try to we'll focus on the legs right now, not worry too much about the arms. The fingertips are together, the right hand is in front of the left armpit. So from there you can bend the knee. As the left knee bends, the right foot can move out to the side. I'm moving it slightly behind the left foot. So I'm going to bend the left knee, and as I bend the left knee, it feels easier to let the pelvis turn to the right because I'm going down low. As I turn the pelvis to the right, I'll turn my left arm, and you should be able to do it in such a way that it feels like the turning of your pelvis to the right also causes the left arm to turn in. So turn the pelvis to the right. I'm keeping my left leg very strong, and I'm dropping my right hand. My weight is still mostly on my left leg. It's not totally on my left leg, but most of the effort's in my left leg. I'm going to try and keep my spine long, and then I'm going to face that way. If you talk to a lot of people, this foot should still be turned in. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to have my foot turned out. Then as I shift my weight to the right, weight still mainly in this leg, but the effort is mainly in the left leg. And just about here, now I'm going to transfer the effort or the intent into my right leg. So my right leg is going to be more strong. And then I'm going to focus on using my right hip to turn my pelvis to the front. And then from here, so my right arm is up, my left arm is back, the fingertips point back. And try and it can be easy to make the left arm feel tense here. The challenge is getting your weight forward onto the right foot. So if you stretch too long, you may have to bend forward quite a bit. We may have to bend your knee forward quite a bit in order to get your weight smoothly onto the right foot. So I would advise against standing with the feet too far apart so that it is easier to get your weight onto the right foot. So as you get better, you can work at increasing distance if you choose. So from here, it's easy to lift the left heel. And then as I lift the left foot off of the floor, I'm going to open the hand. And as I drag my left foot forward, my left leg and my left hand come forward at the same time. Like I said, I'm using my right leg. It feels natural to tilt my pelvis back, and my right hand can drop like so. So some exercises that you could do to make this transition a bit more smooth. On the floor, in a low squat, so I'm squatting with my left knee, keep your left leg, your left hip tight or strong. And what I suggest, turn your hips to the right. So I'm mirroring you. So with your right leg strong, turn your hips to the left. And as you turn your hips to the left, work at turning your foot out. Then turn your hips to the right and turn your foot in. And then that can turn to turn the foot out. Shift weight to the, so I'm mirroring you. Turn, shift weight to the right foot. Lean forward. So if you can't get all of your weight onto the front foot straight away, it may help to drag the back foot a little bit closer to the point that you can easily lift the foot off of the floor. Again, the key point, I'd say the most important point, so that you feel stable and not wobbly when moving onto into the Golden Rooster Stands on one leg, is working on your foot stability, and that's something that you can do, like I said, in the opening movement. Make your foot feel stable. I'll include some links, or have a look through my video list for foot exercises for people with flat feet. Those exercises are very good for learning how to stabilize the feet. There's also one on stabilizing the ankles as well. Lifting the heel, so heel touching forward, lifting the heel. This can be another transition for the arm. So lift the heel, drop the front arm. Lift the heel, drop the front arm. Lift the heel, drop the front arm, and also let this hand swing forward like so. Is that the way it works? Let's just try that. Lift the heel. Okay, change that slightly. And this is what I mean by experimenting. So lift the heel, drop the back hand. And then as you shift your weight forward, as you lift the back foot, that's when the front hand comes down. Okay, so lift the heel, open the back hand, maybe relax it so it swings down, and then shift your weight forward, lift the foot. As you lift the foot, drop the front hand, lift the same side hand. Try it, and again, play around with it. Can be better if you have a teacher who will tell you this is exactly the way you do it. But if you play around with it, you give yourself a bit more flexibility and you can adjust as you see fit. And if you've got experience actually doing this with a partner, or if you're doing push hands, and that's when you'll see whether the move is actually effective or not. But short of that, work at creating, putting the movements together in such a way that it feels connected, so that one movement, so you don't have to think about what you're doing, so that the movements naturally work together, and you don't have to think, okay, I've got to bring my leg forward, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. It all works together naturally, and one movement helps the next movement. Hopefully that was helpful. Namaste.